Fam, what's up? What's up? Kyle Henderson, double dipping. Sunday, September 10th, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I appreciate you guys joining me. Still got a lot to talk about. Week 3 is here. On the slate. Next up, South Florida. Alabama is number 10, coaches and the AP. Still waiting for that line to come out regarding Alabama and South Florida. I'd figure that they're, Alabama's, would you say, like a 31 point favorite? I checked DraftKings and everywhere else. I still can't find an update. Vegas Insider is usually where I go. Let me know where you're watching from inside the comment box. Hey, guess what? The good news is Alabama is 0-0 in SEC play, right? That was a midterm. I don't even know if it was a midterm, right? This team still controls its own destiny. Let's go over the season stats while everybody checks into the show. We had a lot to talk about this morning, clearly. Thanks for joining me on the morning segment. I'll take your calls. We already have a caller in the call queue. And we want to talk about some good news so far. So while we get all settled in, let's actually take our caller because he's been in here for just a second. So let's get the caller in and then we'll start the show. Hey, thanks for batting leadoff. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from? Yes, it's me. I appreciate you calling in from Houston. What's on your mind, man? Oh, hold on 1 second. They're saying that we can't hear you. So let's just do a quick pause real fast. Make sure that we're all set up. 1 second. All right, 1 second. Let's see what is happening here. Just give me 1 second. I'll be all right, give me a test 1 2. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you, but I want to make sure that they can hear you. So in the feedback, so just give me just talk to me like usual. You're calling from Houston, right? All right, but can you guys hear? Hold on. Okay, 1 second. All right, let's see. Test 1 2. All right, call in again. What was your name?
Chris Carruthers.
All right, Chris. Let me see.
I'm from Houston, Texas.
All right. I think we should be able to hear him now. Can everyone hear him now? All right, Chris. I think we should be good. All right.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna hold you too long.
Go ahead. Make your point.
I'm not gonna hold you too long.
We're good now. So let's start off. Let's start officially right now. All right. We're on with Chris from Houston. Chris, what's on your mind? Take it away. Sorry for the slight technical difficulties. Go ahead. Take it away.
Crimson Tide gonna be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Crimson Tide gonna be all right. They fought hard. They played hard. Losses come. They gonna be all right. And you keep that show going, man. I watch this stuff every day. Y'all take care.
All right. Thanks, Chris, for calling in. I appreciate it. That was Chris with the short and sweet leadoff. Listen, I do all the editing and everything by myself, and you would never understand like the audio issues that will just come up. Just strange stuff. You had to stay calm, work through it. We got 4 callers already in the call queue. Before we go to the callers, I wanted to bring up a couple different graphics that I had prepared for you because I wanted to show the offensive stats. So you guys in the call queue, hang tight. And let's look at the offensive statistics real quick through the first 2 games of the season, just so we can get a little bit of context to work with before we dive in, okay? My name's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you for joining me up in the morning segment. And let's look at the rushing stats right now for the Alabama Crimson Tide through 2 games. Up to the top left, Jalen Milroe, 22 attempts, 142 yards, loss of 50 yards. Wow, those are some wild numbers, right? With a net of 92 yards. So he has 92 yards overall. Remember, in college football, if you get sacks, it takes away from your overall yardage. Alabama does not have a running back over 100 yards through 2 games yet. Jason McClellan has 22 attempts for a net gain of 84 yards, and then Roy Dell Williams with 13 carries and 48 yards. Do those statistics surprise you that Alabama doesn't have a running back over the 100-yard threshold through 2 games? It does to me. That stands out. Justice Haynes, 4 attempts with 29 yards. Let's look at the passing stats through 2 games. Jalen Milroe is 27 of 45 with 2 interceptions for 449 yards, 5 touchdowns. His longest of 49 yards. Buckner came in and he is 3 of 5 in that game against Middle, and he has 27 yards. And then Ty Simpson, 1 of 1 for 5 yards. Receiving wise, I cut it off. There's not a lot to work with here, but it is 2 games. So Kobe Prentice, you know what? Kobe Prentice has been coming through. He's like Mr. Reliable, honestly. 8 receptions, 88 yards so far this season, average of 44 yards per game. Isaiah Bond, 6 receptions of 110 yards. Those are those sophomores we were talking about coming into the season. Jermaine Burton has 5 receptions for 120 yards. Should have had even 2 more touchdowns last night. Has 2 touchdowns on the season. Amari Niblack, 4 receptions, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Malik Benson, 3 receptions for 38 yards. Special team statistics to your right, and we'll look at the defensive stats as well. I guess I don't have Will Riker's stats in there. I will get them on the next go round. I know we got some callers, so we'll get to them in a second. But I wanted to look at the offensive and defensive statistics while we get the show going. Through 2 games, Caleb Downs has a total of 18 tackles, leads the team as just a true freshman. It's pretty impressive. He has 1 tackle for loss. You have Deontay Lawson, 15 total tackles, 2 for loss, 1 sack. Alabama has just 3 sacks through 2 games. No sacks last week just yesterday against Texas, 3 against Middle. And Trezman Marshall is third on the team in tackles with 14 total tackles. Trying to look at this board to see if anything else stands out. The 1 interception is by Jalen Key, the transfer from UAB, 11 tackles on the season. Let me know what stands out to you when we're looking at the statistics. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Have a super chat, and let's get to that right now. Appreciate the pregame injury update last night and your dedication to the business. Hey, Chad, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Means a lot to me. Try to do this at a very high level and, give it everything I got, honestly. So you guys want to see Pro Football Focus grades? I will distribute the Pro Football Focus grades. I had those on my earlier show, but we will do that as well. But let's take some calls and let's start the show off, and then I'll bring on the Pro Football Focus grades as well. 470, you're up. Let's get it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Andrew from Douglasville again. Thanks for having me back on. It's always good to be on. Man, I'm disappointed, man. I really thought Alabama was going to show out this game, and we just didn't show up like Bama, dude. It was just crazy. I will say our defense was really good, though. I mean, they held Texas to 13 points to like 3.5 quarters. That's about all we could ask of our defense. Just they really tried to keep us in the game. And I'm at a loss too because I really like Jalen Milroe as an individual. Just what a great guy, but he threw 2 picks and he just was inconsistent. And we can't have that at QB. And so I don't know if it's time to change or if we try to give Milroe another shot. I'm just at a loss. And I think this team is definitely capable of winning the national championship. Mm-hmm. We got a really good team, a lot of really good talent. It's just we just got to fix some stuff and clean some stuff up, to do that. And I don't know if our guys are going to do it. And I think it starts at the QB position. Just we need a good QB, and I don't know if Milroe can do that. So I think the question is, do we need to can Milroe and put Tyler Buckner up or Ty Simpson? And that's just a really tough call. So I think it's going to be an interesting week for Nick Saban having to make that tough decision. But it's just really sad, to see Alabama lose like that at home. But, I think it could be another 2015 situation. We lost week 3, Ole Miss at home, and then we bounced back and beat Clemson in the national championship. So maybe we could do that again. Probably be Georgia who will beat him this time. But I don't know, man. It's just It's just crazy for Alabama to lose by like 10 points at home. And Texas is a good team, but I think we did it to ourselves. I mean, we had 10 penalties, 2 interceptions. All line was terrible. It's just we did it to ourselves, and it's just really sad to see. So, what do you think we need to do moving forward and stuff to win out the rest of the SEC?
On the line with Andrew from Douglasville. I appreciate you calling in once again, everybody joining us tonight. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Look, Coach Saban said this. He said consistency at the quarterback position, in every single position. I think that we have seen what Jalen Milroe can do against a team of less caliber and a team that is really good. Texas, we can't take away anything from Texas because they were the better team last night. And Alabama did have their opportunities to get back into that game, and they did get back into that game. But straight up, Texas won. I think with that second interception, that was very costly. And I think it wouldn't hurt to start another quarterback into week 3. And the reason is this. We need to see what Tyler Buchner or Ty Simpson can do in a game situation with meaningful reps, not coming in when the score is 28 to whatever, or they're up by 4 or 5 touchdowns. You need to be able to see how this quarterback, another quarterback, can command the offense and try to get something going, try to build some continuity, some rhythm with the weapons that Alabama has. But with that said, like Bama fan inside the comment box is saying, look, it's not just Jalen Milroe. This offensive line, has been underperforming for 2 weeks in a row. And I'll show the Pro Football Focus grades in a second. They underperformed, and they didn't do a good job protecting Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe did go, he kind of forced some sacks on himself last night by going into defenders in Texas. Sometimes just rushed 3 rushes last night. Sometimes, it was usually 4, but they didn't bring a lot of heat. The offensive line needs to improve as well, but maybe sometimes another quarterback can come in and spur something. Is that Ty Simpson? Is that Tyler Buchner? I guess we'll see in this next week. And like you said, it's going to be interesting to see what Saban does. Now, Saban was asked if he thought about putting in another quarterback, but, when Jalen Milroe led Alabama down the field with another score, he thought that spurred some momentum. So it was inconsistent play. And we need consistent play at the quarterback position. All programs do. So I don't think there'd be anything wrong with trying another quarterback. The problem is the schedule, at least early on, is inconsistent because you go from middle, then you go to a really good team, Texas. Now you're going to go down to a subpar team in South Florida. And then you're going to go up against probably, Ole Miss, who is going to be challenging just because Lane Kiffin, Pete Golding, kind of the optics in that game. So look, we're looking for a quarterback that is consistent. Love Milroe. The interviews and, kind of his demeanor is perfect. Great representative of the University of Alabama. But in terms of, finding a quarterback that can be consistent, it's just that wasn't it last night in a marquee game. What else you got, Andrew?
I love this team, diehard Alabama fan. I don't think this is the end of it for Bama.
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely have at least a 10-win season. And I think we can definitely bounce back. But we just, like you said, I think we got to try our new QB.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can get, another QB in, Tyler or Ty Simpson,
yeah,
and they just show out and we can fix the O-line. Our defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we can clean up the secondary a little bit, but, if defense, stays the same and we clean up the secondary and clean up the O-line and the QB position, I think we definitely got a national championship team. So I think as far as the rest of the season goes, I think Texas is the hardest team we're going to play. So I think it's not a question of can Alabama do it, it's will Alabama do it. Will we make it to the SEC, and will we beat Georgia? I think we can definitely beat Georgia. We have the talent. It's just a question is, will Alabama do it? I hope Alabama does. But, I think people are overreacting. Nick Saban ain't losing his touch. It's just, the NIL and the transfer portal, dude. Everyone's able to catch up to Alabama quickly now. They're able to get all this talent in quickly and stuff. So it's just, it's hard to, be at the top like that anymore, So I think it's just going to be how college football is moving forward and stuff. I think Alabama's still always going to be really good, but I don't know if we can be as dominant as we have been in the past. But I think Alabama can definitely still win the Natty this season and, make Nick Saban 8 national championships. So I think that'd be pretty exciting. And I hope we do. I just don't know, man. It's just crazy. But I don't want to take up any more of your time, Kyle. Thanks for having me back on. It's always good to be on the show, man. And I appreciate what you've been doing, man.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much for calling in. Please call again next time. All right, that was
All right, man. Roll Tide, man.
Roll Tide to you as well. Andrew from Douglasville, we got a 256-504-310 inside the call queue, including another line which just filled up, which is at 843. So if you call into the show and you get the busy signal, that means that all of the calls are currently taken, but we will get more calls as we get in. All right, and look who stopped by. Miss Elizabeth Reed, appreciate it with the big 50 spot super chat. We appreciate you, Elizabeth. And she said, I like Milroe, but still not sure about his passing abilities in tough SEC play. You can consider Texas SEC play absolutely now because they're joining the SEC. Also, I'm not sold on the O-line. Agree 100%. I know everyone hypes their size, but I feel like it can compromises their quickness and stamina. But as always, Roll Tide. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. We really appreciate the super chat. And I think that is a great point to ponder, if you will, is that offensive line that we hyped up early in the fall camp with the size. Does that take away their athleticism? And a couple things from speaking with, you guys over the last, 24, 48 hours is that size sometimes takes away the athleticism. And also it's important to know that Caden Proctor is just a freshman. But with that said, we need to figure out the best setup for the offensive line. I'm posing this question to everybody inside the comment box. And I said this, on one of my earlier shows. Do you feel that this could probably make sense? NFC Boys is like, is Elizabeth Reed your wife? No, she is not my wife. She is a Roll Tide fan who we really appreciate. So the thing about it is, would you slide in Dalcourt to center? Would you put Terrence Ferguson in at guard and Tyler Booker at guard, and then have Latham and Proctor as your tackles? So that means subbing out Seth McLaughlin and seeing, if that can somehow spur this offensive line. It's two things. Number one, the pressure with the offensive line was really unacceptable. They got pushed around. And two, we still don't have a successful running game, in my opinion. I mean, I thought at times Jace was running really hard. I get it. You were, Alabama was, playing from behind most of the game, but still the running game I thought could have been more productive in week 1 and in week 2. And we'll see if it's going to carry over in week 3. Remember, we have all these running backs at Alabama haven't really been utilized that much. We'll go back to the phone lines again. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for the super chat. It's a 256 and we'll start today. Yo, is this Sean? Is this Coach Sean?
It's me, man. What's up, Kyle? What's going on, people? How are you?
What's up, man? I appreciate you calling in, Coach. We've had a little bit more time to digest on that. I mean, look, before we kind of dive into it, I mean, this offensive line, do you feel like after you've had a little bit of time to digest it and watch it over that they're lacking some athleticism, or what do you think about, the offensive line through 2 games?
Man, listen closely. I had to have a real, I was in my feelings earlier, upset like everybody else. I went back and watched the game, clip by clip. And, Seth hadn't had bad snaps this whole entire season. We have to remember, man, T'Vondre Sweat, the guy that was in Seth's lap all night, it's just like my boy Jarek said, this kid is an absolute monster, man. He was whipping Seth. If you ever played ball, he was just whipping Seth. That's what it was. The guy's 6'4", 362. He will be a first rounder at the end of the first round, at least a late first rounder or early second rounder. The guy just whipping Seth, man. That's what when you see Seth with the bad snaps, that's Seth trying to hurry up and get off. He's trying to get a head start, as we say. He's trying to get off on him real quick because dude was whipping him. He was just whipping Seth is what it was. For me, man, I respect all the callers and the young man who called, talking about, but I got to be real, man. This is a real show. That's why I agreed to be with Kyle, because this is a real show. I don't have to fake it like other shows. I'm tired of these speeches we give every year. It's gonna be all right, man. Damn that. I'm tired of that every season. Every season it's the same thing. Calm down. It'll be all right. Nah, brother, we got whipped on our own home field last night. You know what I mean? And we just got to be honest with that. Sure, we all know Jalen did not play well, and that was a big part of the loss. You cannot turn the ball over, man, against anybody, let alone a team of that caliber. But we didn't play well. We didn't play well in a lot of spots, man. We did not play well in a lot of spots. I'm not as upset as most people is with the defense because I have such great respect for Coach Sarkisian and his offense and his play calling. He's probably my favorite play caller, him along with Lane Kiffin. To hold those guys to 13 points at the bottom of the third quarter, man, you have to understand football. You cannot keep putting your defense over there on the field. You go to the sideline, you sit down for 3 plays, and you go right back on the field. Our defense did that for 3 quarters, man, for 3 quarters. So, of course, they're going to give up some plays toward the end of the game. Of course, Steve Sarkisian knew we were tired. So, you know, for me, guys, the offensive line is a problem in pass pro. I'm not upset with those guys with the running game. I don't like the rotation we're doing as far as our running backs are concerned. I played running back. When you play running back in high school and college, when you play running back, you have to get in a rhythm, man. You have to get in a rhythm. That's why you see all of our backs back in the days, they would get 20 carries, 16, 17 carries. You can't give a running back 5 carries, pull him out. Give another running back 3 carries, pull him out. Put that running back in, give him 4 carries, pull him out. The offense, every running back is different. The offensive line has to get a groove of how the running back is. Some running backs are cutback running backs. Some running backs are bounce everything to the sideline running backs, a la Jam Miller. Every running back has a skill set that is sort of different. So the in run blocking, the offensive line has to feel the running back out. We sub running back so much, you know, and we've done that for a couple of years now. So for me, I'm not as upset as about those little things like that because those are things that can actually be fixed. I'm more worried about Jalen because I watched the game again, man, and I really am concerned because Jalen seems to not be able to read zone coverage. And that's what Steve and them was popping him with. The guys on defense was dropping back in zone. Jalen was throwing the ball right into zone coverage, like right into the teeth of the defense. And that he has happy feet. And what scares me about it, Kyle, is we say, okay, let's put Ty in. Okay, let's put Buckner in. How do we know they're going to do any better? I just don't. I don't know, bro. I don't know. What's the answer? Do we put another quarterback in going into the Ole Miss game, and he possibly do worse? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, man. But I tell you what he need to do. They need to figure it out this week. They need to figure out this week because Texas has set a pamphlet on how to play Alabama's defense, how to play Alabama's offense. Now everybody doesn't have Texas's personnel, but you better believe the zone shell against Jalen, the pattern matching against Jalen. That is what every SEC defense will try to do to us. So for me, I'm sort of lost right now, brother. I'm sort of not understanding how we got whipped up front like that. I have all the respect in the world for Texas and their defensive line. I said that coming into the game, but it's just not regular that we get to see our team get whipped like that. You had all these great stars at the game. It's all over YouTube. Matthew McConaughey at the game and Pat McAfee at the game. And this was the most huge game we've had this season. And we choose this game to go out and let a fart. It just bothered me. It bothered me. But I will say this, man. I was fighting myself whether I was going to say this or not. But I want to say this, because a lot of people's not going to understand what I'm about to say. But the people, if you ever played the football game, this game, especially in college, you understand exactly what I'm saying. We need to get back to recruiting kids from the neighborhood. We need to get back to recruiting kids who grow up facing adversity. Not these kids who come from these private schools, no disrespect to them, but these kids who don't face adversity until they get to college. All the kids come from these areas to where football is a lifeblood. Kids who don't grow up privileged, kids who grow up facing hardships. They get to Alabama and they're hungry. They're happy to get to Alabama. They're not worried about NIL. I'm tired of that being an excuse too. Every team in the country has NIL. We didn't get beat because of no dadgum NIL. Every team has NIL. Georgia has NIL. Texas has NIL. That's not the reason we got beat. We get beat, to me, because all 5 stars are not created equal. Please believe what I'm telling you. I played with guys that transferred in from these big schools and were supposed to be so good. They were soft as a potato. I'm talking about soft is the other side of the pillar. Had all these stars behind their name, big and look like a Greek god, and they get a fingernail tore up and they crying on the sideline. Nah, man, no. All 5 stars. Let me say this, and it's gonna make some people mad. But we gotta face it. Let's look in the mirror. All the hood 5 stars are going to Georgia and Colorado. And let's just face it. I mean, it is what it is. I seen dudes on the sideline limping. You know, shout out to my boy Bo Scarborough who I talked to. I seen dudes laying on the sideline because they were fatigued. And nah, man, Coach Saban had a standard. Coach Saban had a standard. This is straight from somebody who played at Bama. Bo played there. Coach Saban had a standard. And damn it, if you didn't stick to it, move out of the way. The next guy will. These kids on YouTube with their jewelry and their grills, man, forget all of that. Forget all of that. No, brother, we got to get back to recruiting the kids. I don't care nothing about a star. I want the kid that's got heart. I want the kid that look at coming to Alabama as a big deal. I want the kid that want to that's focused on coming in there, learning what he's supposed to do, and want to ball out like Caleb Downs. Sure, Caleb gave up some plays, but that kid is going to, by the time he leaves Alabama, listen to me today, Caleb Downs will be one of the best players to ever wear that uniform. You mark my words. You mark my words. So that's my thing, Kyle. I want to get back to the old school Alabama. It ain't about a star. It's about what's inside the kid, man. And a lot of times the film will show it. The background check will show it. A lot of these high school coaches don't lie to you. They're going to tell you he pouts. You know, you can't handle him the way you can handle him. You can't fuss at him or he'll go in a shell. You can't fuss at him or he'll get upset. His parents will be mad. No, brother. Let's get back to recruiting the kids that know what it means to come and know what it means to not be afraid of hard work. They faced adversity all their lives, man. They're not going to be upset. They're not going to be scared of competition, and they're not going to be upset when they don't perform well. That's going to motivate them to go out and perform better. So that's my thing, Kyle, man. I want to just shoot that. South Florida shouldn't be a challenge for us. These guys are going to throw the ball around the yard. They threw the ball 68 times in the first 2 games, 34 times in each of their first 2 games. But as far as we just got to find where to go, man. I'm lost as everyone else. What do you do? Do you stick with Milroe, considering the guy's talent, or do you move him out of the way and put somebody else in and hope they do better against our next SEC competition? What do you think?
Man, I think that you got to make a change right now, to be honest. I mean, I honestly do. I think you need to give Buckner Simpson a shot, and I think you need to do it from the get-go. I think you need to do it right now. You can lose in college football. It's got to be early. You still control your destiny. And the thing is, you need to figure out that rhythm, that continuity before you get into SEC, especially that gauntlet, because Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, Arkansas, within a 4-game stretch, that's a challenge. And you need to be able to go in there guns blazing with, a quarterback that can lead this offense. And there's got to be one of the 3 or 4 quarterbacks that can do that. We've seen what Jalen Milroe can do. If Jalen Milroe comes back and he's able to lead this team, we've seen it before. Remember when they took Jalen Hurts out because he wasn't the guy at that time? And it was Tua. Exactly. Tua was the better quarterback. But when Tua went out, Jalen came back in and ended up winning the SEC championship. This is like one of the dopest things I've ever seen. I was on the sideline. It was like people were emotional because he sat there and he handled it like a man. And I hope that if there is a time, and I think 100% he will, if Milroe's a number 2 or the number 3 quarterback, that he handles it like Jalen Hurts did. Because the dude was all business, didn't complain about it, didn't go to, Twitter. He just handled it. And that was like the team mentality. Now look what he's doing. So, you need a quarterback that can develop that consistency and performance. That's what coach is saying. Last night wasn't it from Jalen Milroe. It is what it is. It's nothing against him personally. This is the big leagues. This is the pros. Like, you're getting paid, man. Like, you got sponsorship deals. Like, you are in the limelight, and you need the best quarterback there. Coach Sean, I'm going to run to my next caller, man. As always, you do such a great job. I'm so happy to be linked up with you. You part of this family, and I know you're going to kill it on Monday night with the coaches when you guys start to turn the page to week 3.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, and roll tide to everyone.
All right, roll tide, Coach. That was Coach Sean. We got a 504, a 310-843, and a 205 inside the comment box. Chad, thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Elizabeth, once again, thank you for the 50 spot. Keith Jones saying Roydell Williams is more like a fullback. Justin Saints need to get some work. Need to see those running backs. I agree. Chief, been a long-time subscriber, I believe, with the 2 spot. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. And then Paul with the 10 spot saying Milroe was carried by the kicker, the defense, and receivers. The problem was the game was totally winnable. You take out Milroe and it's a totally different game, which baffled me. He stayed in. I told you guys early in fall camp that the best offensive player for Alabama right now going into this early season was Will Reichard. You get Will Reichard in, he's money. 3 for 3 last night. He's done a great job. Every single time he comes in, he's automatic. And someone on one of my other shows said that this is kind of like what Alabama, did. They sacrificed for a great kicker. Now this is kind of where we're at offensively. Thought that was kind of funny. We go back to the phone lines. It's a 504. We start right now. Hey, thank you very, very much for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Kyle, the Quan from New Orleans, man. How you making it, brother?
Man, I appreciate it, man. It's always great to hear from you, Quan, one of our top callers. And, you know how I feel about New Orleans. I've already told you many times. So thank you for calling in. I know you've had some time to digest this game. Give me your take. And where do we go now as Alabama sits 1-1 entering week 3?
Kyle, a quick question, man. Is the Amari Knobloch video that's going viral, is that real? Is that from last night or is that an old video?
No, I think
Tell me that's an old video.
I don't know. I saw. So what Quan is asking about. So there is a video going on right now. Hey Quan, how do you spell your name? Is it Quan or Qwan?
Yeah. Quan.
That's what I thought. Okay. So what Quan is asking about is there's a video going around on Twitter about Amari Knobloch, and he's like hyped up and he's dancing. And he's saying that, look how many viewers I got on. And it's kind of like, a social, he's a kid, right? I don't even know if he's 20 years old.
Right.
So, but the point is, like, if it was last night, I think the angle is people are like, look, he's not dialed in. He's not a team player because he's kind of doing his thing on social media. Look, I mean, like, my take is, like, dude, you can not stop social media. Like, people are, they get endorphins from social media in a strange way. It's like, also with like that team mentality, maybe you have 24 hours to kind of let that soak in and stay off. So I don't know if it was new or if it was, right. Something that was in the past. So that's what I know, Quan. I don't know, but I did see it.
I'm just asking because I know last night Bo Scarborough went off last night,
mm-hmm.
and rightfully so. I listened to him, and like he said, the people like him that helped build this program, they're not happy right now, man. You had several players calling out players yesterday. My few quick points I'm gonna hit on both of the lines of scrimmage, defense and the offense. The offensive line. I know people been on Seth with the snap count, but I personally I think Seth will get it together, but I don't understand Darrian Dalcourt, this Darrian Dalcourt situation. I seen somebody in the comments a few days ago. They said they don't know what he has on Coach Saban. He's a year 5 guy, right? Mm-hmm. And now everybody's on Caden Proctor's head. Well, he's a true freshman. I mean, he gonna have growing pain. He's a true freshman, but that offensive line got dominated last night, and all we've been hearing all offseason is Coach Wolf is these are big boys and they finna set the standard back, and I didn't see it, and what was more concerning to me is it was 4 Texas was only sending 4 against all 5.
Yeah,
and that was more concerning to me, and I'm like, how's this happening? And I know everybody wants to get on Milroe, and I got on him too because, those 2 interceptions, they were bad, man. They were real bad. They were real bad. They teaching kids nowadays and Pop Warner not to throw them throws, man.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wait to high school for your coaches to tell you not to throw that throw. They teaching them now that at Pop Warner now.
Mm-hmm.
They telling them don't throw them type of throws.
Mm-hmm.
They were terrible. So the offensive line and the defensive line, we got beat up at the line of scrimmage last night, Kyle. It ain't no sugarcoating it. Like Coach Shine say, who I love, man. I love Coach Shine, man. I can listen to him all day because he gonna give it to you straight. And they got whipped on both sides of the ball. We don't have a true pass rusher. We never put any dirt on Quinn Ewers' jersey. He left. His jersey was cleaner when he left than when he was in the game there. I mean, it was just, we got whipped on the line of scrimmage. We started off with the run game, like you said. Jace was going. We went away from the run game, and Texas never gave it back to us. They never gave it back to us. So I agree with Coach Shine. I don't like this running back rotation. We used to seeing the Derrick Henrys and, Bo Scarborough. Like Bo Scarborough said before, in 2015 and 17, Coach Saban, when Derrick Henry was going with Kenyon Drake and Bo was with Damian Harris, in that playoff run, Coach Saban said, man, these boys got the hot hand. We're going to go with them. Jace was running like crazy in that first quarter. We went away from it, and next thing you know, Texas never gave it back to us. Our offensive line, they just got demolished. And, I came into the season, Kyle, I told you from the get-up, I thought it was two coaches that had to prove something, Holman Wiggins and Freddie Roach. Well, I think Holman Wiggins feel okay because his unit, they've been playing good.
Yeah.
Freddie Roach unit, I don't know what it's going to take. I seen him go into the rotation. I seen Damian Payne and all them out there, but they could not get the Quinn Ewers for nothing. And everybody, like Coach Shine told us earlier in the week, if you leave Quinn Ewers back there, everybody knows he did what he's supposed to do. He picked the support. So I just feel like we got to get. I don't know how Coach Saban can implement a strategy for this defensive line to get them more aggressive. I don't know. But, I made my feelings to you a long time ago, Kyle, about the experienced players versus the best players. And I don't know. I don't know if we're going necessarily with the best players sometimes, like Darian Dalcourt. I think he's there because of experience. Because if you're telling me Darian Dalcourt is the best we got, then we really ain't got much there. We really don't have much. So that's just my opinion on it. And, last night was bad, man. I mean, it was bad all the way across the board. And I agree with you. I do think it's time for a change. I do think it's time to get somebody else in there to get ready for this gauntlet.
Yeah.
Because we know Lane Kiffin is pretty much, his game plan is going to mirror Steve Sarkisian's. Josh Heupel's game plan is going to mirror Steve Sarkisian's. And now they're going crazy on the chat. Fire Kevin Steele, and Kevin Steele did his job, Kyle.
Yep.
He held these boys to 13 points to the fourth quarter. I mean, what more do you want Kevin Steele to do? I did my job. It's no different in the NFL. Somebody hold Patrick Mahomes to 7 points to the fourth quarter. Well, that opposing team defensive coordinator feel like I did my job. We going 3 and outs, and Tommy, his play calling was all right, but sometimes last night it resembled. I seen some Bill O'Brien similarities in some of his play calling. 2nd and 12, we running the ball. What are we doing? It's 2nd and 12. They got the momentum. Why are we running the ball? So I just don't. I don't know, Kyle. I mean, how do you feel about it? That's just how I feel about it. I just feel like we got whipped. I feel like the offense pretty much lost us the game. I feel like the defense did their job, man. They got us to the fourth quarter. They held this team with all these weapons. They held them to 13 points. I mean, they ran out of gas. It looked like they ran out of gas.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the defense definitely ran out of gas, but they were put in a lot of difficult situations. And I think as I've looked at this defense over 2 games, I do like what I've seen from the defense early on. There was, you can kind of nitpick and you can kind of look at, for example, like, Xavier Worthy beating Caleb over the top or, some of the things that happened. But for the most part, like the defense kept that game last night close, and Alabama had opportunities on the offensive side to win the game, to be honest. So I do like where the defense is at, and I do think that they have been doing a better job open field tackling. There was a couple times where they didn't wrap up or whatever, but I think that, I've liked them outside of the pass rush. So and then I've been like critical of that because there was like, I cannot fathom that they didn't sack Quinn, or like there was 3 pressures.
They did.
And so that was like completely unacceptable. So that's kind of the one area that I'll be watching, for the next couple weeks is that pass rush, because I have hyped up those outside linebackers, and there's zero reason when you have Dallas Turner, Chris Broswell, Q Robinson, he only played 7 plays last night, 7. And you got some very talented freshmen, Keon Keeley or Yanzi Pierre. Clearly maybe those guys aren't ready or whatever, but you need to get some sort of a pass rush. Malachi Moore last night with the good soundbite saying like maybe you should blitz more. So I don't know. I mean, the defense overall, I think that'll come, but I was just really disappointed that you didn't see more of a pass rush, because you have to get to the quarterback, and teams that have I'm not going to call Quinn elite, but he's very good, and he's going to do enough, especially with the weapons that Texas have to beat you. So look, those guys are going to make plays. I mean, Xavier Worthy, the Sanders guy is amazing. So, I mean, they have plenty of weapons. Make one more point, Quan, before I move to my next caller.
Last point, Kyle. I want you to think about this question. And I know you go into the media rooms when Coach Saban does the pressers. And I just want you to think about it, because I can't ask you to ask him this, but I want you to think about it if you can, if nobody else asks him. Could you ask him, is he pleased with the offensive line and the defensive line? Because your former employee, Tony Tsoukalis, a few weeks ago, he almost got his head chewed off. He's famous for almost getting his head chewed off by Coach Saban. Yeah. But he had a point. He had a point when he asked him, "Are you going to play 2 quarterbacks?" Because I thought about it. All Tony Tsoukalis, he might be hearing from his sources, and we're hearing it from Coach Saban, is nobody separated themselves. Yep. Nobody's grabbed the job by the horns and took the job. So maybe I don't think that was a question that was a crazy question. I think it was a logical one. You keep telling us this, so are you considering playing 2? Maybe somebody need to ask him, how satisfied are you with this offense and defensive line? How satisfied are you with it? Because everybody can see it, that this offensive and defensive line is pretty much what cost us the game. They got pushed around. Coach Saban always told us that you win these games in the trenches. So maybe that's a question he needs to be asked. But I just, had to call in tonight. I listen all the time, but after today, I said I'm going to call in and just, chop it up with you for a few minutes. I appreciate you, though, brother.
Thanks, Quan.
And Coach Shine is the truth, man.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Quan, before you go, man, I know you have a child in college, man, so I hope they're doing well and stuff like that. I don't forget about those little things. So I care about all the callers, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I hope they're doing really well, man. And next time in New Orleans, I'm gonna hit you up.
Man, do that, man. I appreciate you, Kyle. Keep the good work up, man.
All right, man. Cool. See you, Quan.
Roll
Tide to you, Quan. Hey, Quan, next time in the area, man, let's smoke a cigar. I like cigars, so when I'm in your city or whatever, let's link up. We'll chop it up. We'll talk some Alabama football and, nice little cigar. I like that. So appreciate you guys joining me tonight. We got a 310-843-205, 502. It'd be dope is if we had like a map of all the callers, where they're calling from, right? Like maybe that's kind of the standard that we get to. So I appreciate it. And you guys, I appreciate all of you, honestly. We just got a super chat 20 spot for William. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Means a great deal to us to have that type of support right here on our YouTube channel. Name is Kyle Anderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Next up, you got South Florida. Still looking for the updated lines. Does anybody have an updated line or early line, like offshore or something like that? So I figure Alabama is going to be favored by like 28 or something like that. I'll get to my callers in just a second. Alabama is number 10 in the coaches and AP poll. That's okay. You want to be laying in the weeds. 1-1 on the season, but most importantly, 0-0 in SEC play. We went over the season stats so far through 2 games. And, there is good news. There is good news on this team. I've seen some good things, specifically, honestly, from the wide receivers. I've been really impressed with them, to be honest, because when you look at the wide receivers, we were so critical of them in the fall, like catch the ball. They've caught the ball. Malik Benson went up in the air. Isaiah Bond made a really good adjustment. Jermaine Burton has been playing really at a high level. So kudos to those guys for doing a great job. Here's Alabama's next couple of games. I'll bring that up and then I'll go right back to the phone lines. it's not their entire schedule, but this is what I could fit within the screenshot. So they have USF. I'm going down there. I'll be in Tampa. Then you have Ole Miss. That's Lane Kiffin. That's Pete Golding coming into Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We're going to Starkville for Mississippi State. Then we're going to College Station as Alabama takes on Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher and his squad just lost to Miami. That was interesting. Then you have Arkansas, Sam Pittman for homecoming. That's gonna be a battle. Tennessee is the third weekend in October. Speaking of cigars, right? And then you have an open week right before you take on LSU. And then we're going up to Lexington, Kentucky. And then you have Chattanooga. And then you have Auburn. So that's the schedule for the Alabama Crimson Tide kind of remaining going into that back year. We go back to the phone lines with the 310. We start right now. Hey, thank you for being so patient on the line. You're on the line with Kyle Anderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, how you doing? It's Keith from Alamo.
Hey, no way. Alamogordo?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So Keith is calling in from Alamogordo, New Mexico. If you're new to the show, I'm from New Mexico. I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And, but I used to own, how I got into all of this, is I started a high school football website called NM Preps. And I would travel all over the state of New Mexico and I would interview high school athletes and coaches. I would go from Alamogordo all the way up to Clayton to Farmington and everywhere in between. And that's kind of how I learned my craft. But Alamogordo was great because I was living in Las Cruces going to school at New Mexico State. I would drive to Alamogordo for Allsup's burrito and then cruise back. So Keith, it's good to have, I think this is the first call we've had from New Mexico. So welcome to the show and take it away, man.
Hey, no problem, man. Yeah, I've been meaning to call you for a while. I'm always commenting and replying back and forth to you. And I just want you to know that every time I go into Allsup's, I think about you when I'm eating those delicious chimichangas. So, but sorry to do you like that, bud. But hey, I got to say, Quan and Coach Sean really dropping truth and really stole a lot of my thunder. But to kind of talk about Milroe, what really bothered me more than anything watching him play was just the fact that it didn't seem like it was until the second half of the game that he actually completed a throw to a receiver that wasn't in jeopardy. He's throwing, and by the time the ball's getting to the receiver, a defender can almost get their hand on it, intercept it. The receiver's bailing him out. The windows are closing by the time he's even throwing the ball, and it just seems to me. I mean, he can't read or can't process coverage or what the defense is doing, and we just can't have that. We cannot have that with the offense that we're running. So I don't know if the offense needs to change. I don't know if the quarterback needs to change, but. We just can't have that because it was literally boom or bust last night. Everything was boom or bust. It was a negative play with Milroe or an interception, or it was a phenomenal, pass deep or whatever. And I just don't see how we can live like that this year.
Yeah, I know. That's why we're talking about kind of the consistency of performance at the quarterback position. And even Saban alluded to that before the season even started. And I keep going back to Coach Saban's comments last night when he thought about putting in another quarterback. I'm sure he's thinking about that today and going into tomorrow. And I'm sure he'll be asked about that kind of throughout his media opportunities about the quarterback. And I'm sure he's going to hold his cards close to his chest once again and say, we haven't necessarily made a decision, but I think it's time. And clearly we have seen what Jalen can do on the field. There's some good, there's some bad. And that's inconsistent because it hasn't been consistent. So he'd be going against his word if he played him because he's inconsistent at this point, right? And I think Saban. It's not a pride thing. Like Saban knows he has to win. He has to play a quarterback that can win. And I think Quan brought up a great point too about the offensive line. So there's some things right now that Alabama certainly has to fix. And I don't, Saban said it was the midterm. I kind of feel it was a quiz, the second week of school, and it's not the final. So this team is far from final. No team has ever missed the playoffs in week 2 unless they go 0-2, and no team has ever won the national title in week 2. So what else you got, Keith?
Well, I was also going to say that while I was disturbed by the lack of pass rush, really, really disturbed. I can't say that I thought we were going to drop Ewers 2 or 3 times because we've kind of been dealing with this for a while. It's nothing new, but I guess what bothered me is we didn't even make him uncomfortable. I mean, we didn't even get near the guy. Now, having said that, I mean, I think Sark's an offensive genius. I love Sark, and I knew he'd scheme, but I'm still shocked that we didn't get anyone near him.
Yeah. Nothing. I mean, there was 3 quarterback hurries last night and 0 sacks, which is unacceptable. So while, earlier in the show, I said I did like what I saw from the defense, and I did, but that is like an F. I mean, that's not even like a C or anything like that. That's a straight F. I mean, when you're looking at, and does that come down to, that's on Steele, and you got to think that Coach Saban's not happy about that. And I'm surprised that, the pressure. And I was listening to Steve Sarkisian's press conference this afternoon, and he said that Quinn did a good job, staying in the pocket, but it's going to be like that when you're not getting that type of pressure. Texas offensive line was really good. And, they beat Alabama on both sides of the ball in the trenches. Make one final point, Keith, before I move to my next caller.
Well, I appreciate the time, Kyle. And I'll just finish it up with this. And I'm going to say something that maybe a lot of people are thinking, but it's not real popular to say. But I guess I'll be that guy, and I'll take whatever happens in the comment section. But something's not translating anymore. And I know, it's a different world, NIL, transfer portal, all that. It's just not translating anymore. And, we keep going into the season thinking, man, we've got this mad pass rush with Braswell and Dallas and these guys. And we get into game time, man, it's nowhere to be found. And it's not just the pass rush, it's a number of issues. And I'm starting to wonder, I mean, maybe it's just me. And I love Saban, greatest coach of all time, but the old boy's getting a little long in the tooth too. And I'm just wondering what's going on down in Tuscaloosa now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Keith, I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for calling in. I'm jealous that you can just drive to Allsup's after this phone call ends and just go grab a burrito and some taco sauce, man. So, you enjoy, Alamo, and, I'm going to find out what the Alamogordo Tigers are doing, after this, cause it should be week 3 or week 4 over in New Mexico, man, but, stay safe and, please call again next time.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, take it easy. That's Keith calling in from Alamogordo, New Mexico. Look, this might be it right here. Travis, what's up, man? I see you in the comment box. Saban created this Sark monster. Saban has created a lot of monsters for sure. Sark is a great coach. I tweeted this out last night. I don't tweet a ton. My social media, by the way, is on Instagram, Mr. Kyle Henderson. And then on Twitter, it's Bama YouTube. I don't tweet all the time. I literally just watch the game. I watch the game, I drink a Monster, and I internalize it so I'm able to talk about the game. I don't tweet that's just not me. But I did say this after the game. Pay Sark whatever he wants. He is a great coach. And I was listening to his post game, and he said this, and I'll get to my next callers in just a second. He said that coming into Alabama, he told his players, look, he's been in that locker room before, and you have to go in there with the mindset that you can beat Alabama. Texas came in with that mindset, and I think a lot of programs are coming to Alabama with that same mindset. And Alabama is now, you can beat Alabama. I think that's what a lot of programs are telling themselves. And programs down the SEC. When I came here back in 2016, that wasn't the case. I mean, went into the SEC, and I was almost kind of bored because I knew that Alabama had such high dominance. I think the world of college football has changed in a sense that, people are transferring. I mean, look what's happening in Colorado with Coach Sanders, doing his thing, and Prime has Colorado straight rolling because he has a completely new roster. And I was just looking at some headlines that came in that saying that, if Saban was to retire, they would go after Coach Prime. Did you guys see that? And they were talking about Coach Prime. Look, I think he's doing a fantastic job at Colorado, and it's really amazing to see, his son at quarterback too. I mean, they were able to beat Nebraska. I used to actually own a website that covered the Buff, so I'm very familiar. I would go to Boulder quite often, so to see that transformation is really amazing. But my point is the world of college football has changed, and you can rebuild your roster within a season. I mean, look at how many people Alabama kind of, process in a sense out of the portal and who they brought in. And David, I'm not saying that, we want Prime or Prime's going to, I'm curious if a job opens up for Prime, he's 100% going to take it. But just, it is interesting to see, what he's done so fast at Colorado. We go back to the phone lines at 843 and we start right now. Hey, thanks for being patient on the call-in line. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, how's it going? It's Tobias calling out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, what's up, Tobias? Man, we're going to the west. We went from New Mexico, and then we made like the 9-hour drive up to Arizona. Man, yeah. So I appreciate you calling in. It's been a little bit since we talked, but it's good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, same here. Man, here's the thing, right? I think what happens is, like with Jalen Milroe, and I wasn't a fan of him starting because there were certain things that he is never going to get. There's no knock on him. If you watch him throw the ball, his head never moves. That means the defender knows where the ball is going to be at. Some people just have it, some people don't. And I know the offensive line struggle. I do think some of those guys need to lose 20 pounds. But the mobile quarterback, especially looking up in the NFL, the most sacked quarterbacks are the ones that mobile who can run. Because a lot of them actually run into sacks. But he also bailed out of clean pockets. And the reason many people don't want to say this, he's a nice guy, he's a great kid and everything. But after a while, the team will get tired, especially the receivers, the defense. Because I can't blame the defense because we knew Sark was going to put up points because of the way he schemed things up.
Mm-hmm.
But the defense is going to get tired sooner or later, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about the running backs, Saban has to start, and it's just pretty much all over the field. Playing people based on their birth certificate is not going to cut it anymore. If these guys aren't cutting it, I would rather go down with the young guys because people love saying what experience you bring back. How you get experience you don't play? If these guys aren't getting to the quarterback, put some of these other guys in to see if they can get to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They may be freshmen, they're going to make mistakes. But if the guys who mom and dad met before their mom and dad met making mistakes, you might as well go young and see what they have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even at quarterback, Kyle, all I heard is that Dylan Lonergan's progressing. Oh, we're not going to start because he's a freshman. If he's showing more than these guys, put him in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but I just think that he has to look at this youth on this team and put them in because guess what? Those guys are saying, yeah, I may be young, but I'm better than this guy. He ain't giving me a shot. Guess what I'm going to do?
Yep.
I'm going to transfer.
100%.
You have to roll the dice on that stuff.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was talking to a really good source recently, and they continue to talk about Dylan Lonergan, but I haven't even really been mentioning him because I'm going off my quarterback, what I know from literally the first game. And when I think we saw the depth chart right there. It was Milroe, then Buckner, then Simpson, and then Lonergan. And kind of to your point, he's going from the experience level down. But Lonergan might be the very best quarterback that Alabama has right now, but we won't see that because it doesn't seem like there's going to be a chance that Lonergan starts or even plays in this early part of the season. I think we'll probably have to get down to the nitty gritty if none of these other quarterbacks can show that consistency. And this is what's so confusing. I brought this up earlier is the schedule's inconsistent. Now you go into South Florida, still looking for a line. If you guys have a line, post it inside the comment box. And Dwayne, I see your super chat, so I'll get that to you in just a second. But which quarterback isn't going to shine this coming Saturday against South Florida? I know that's a rat poison or whatever, but it's the truth. So then you come back against Ole Miss, and what are you going to do? I mean, it's going to be challenging. What else you got, Tobias?
Yeah, I'll say this, and the thing is, look at college football as a whole, right? Chip Kelly almost lost the Coastal Carolina game this season because he started a guy with more experience than the better player in Dante Moore, the freshman. I just think that he's going to have to make some tough decisions because in the 2 out of the 3 games Jalen Milroe played against good teams, he turned the ball over too much. And the same thing, he ain't going to get it. Yeah. But also, I just think that the receivers actually played better, and a lot of them were getting open. And but I just think that also with the running back, like the coach was saying, you got to give Jason Cullen 20 carries and the other guy 10 or 15. And who had picked, I would say Jam or even Justice Haynes. And they're young, but if the other guys ain't cutting it, You got to put these people in. That's how you keep the team engaged. You can't preach competition if all you're doing is going by your birth certificate. But hey, thanks for taking my call, Kyle. Keep up the great work as always, man.
Thank you, Tobias. I really appreciate you calling in, man. Call again next time. All right, that's Tobias coming out. We went from Alamogordo. Now we're going to Phoenix. We got a 205. Looks like we're coming back to the southeast, and then we got a 502 and a 205, and a 334 just jumped inside the call queue. We'll just keep it rolling. Keep you guys coming inside the call queue because I know you guys have been waiting. So 205, let's do it. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Nick D from Birmingham, man. Welcome back to the Dirty South.
I appreciate it, man. I'm sorry. I missed your name. Who was it?
I'm D. I'm from Birmingham.
All right. D, as in,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
D
sir.
is it? D from Birmingham. We're back to the southeast, man. Let's get it.
Okay, man. I'm pretty much everybody's saying the same thing. Jalen Milroe, I'm not talking about the person. I'm not talking about that young man. I'm old enough to be a dad.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that young man. I'm talking from end zone to end zone, sideline to sideline, strictly. He's an embarrassment to Alabama football. In my opinion, he take me back in them bad memories of when Spencer Pennington and Brandon Avalos and that guy that transferred from Miami was a quarterback before Saban got there. He just don't get it. And it's okay for you to admit that I'm not a quarterback. Maybe you need to do what T.J. Finley did and drop down a level. That might need what he need to do. It like the guy who just before me just said his head don't move. He telegraphing what he throwing the ball to, man. He telling that DB, okay, I'm gonna throw the ball right here. You can pick me off now. And you know this the worst thing that Saban put on there. And I can't blame him because I really think he caught between a rock and a hard place because you don't want no what happened to the dude. What the guy named that left him with Arizona after the third game. You don't want all your guys in the transfer portal after the third game. So he kind of got to play it with a kick glove on a little bit. This is a dangerous time in college football that we live in. Like, if you make these guys mad, okay, they finna enter the transfer portal. But, man, that guy just do not get it. And he made everybody else look bad. The defense was tired. Like the guy or two guys before me, we had them to 13 points for 3.5 quarters. So the 85 Bears couldn't be no better than that. But 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, interception, 3 and out after 3 and out, interception. Come on, man. I mean, what do you want him to do? And, you know what I'm saying, he get out there and then he comes in the press conference, he says the right thing because I think he's a smart young man. But quarterback, he's not. And Coach would start a true freshman. I mean, Jalen was a true freshman. Tua was a true freshman when you put him in the second half. But I understand them different players. But this guy, he been there 3 years. How much more growing pain do we got to, grow with? He been down there, 2 years, 3 years? So he should know the system. And like the guy just said, them other players going to get tired. Because, Curry should be like, hey, what's his name? Wide open down the sideline. Prentice wide open down this sideline. Jalen wasn't even looking at darn way, man. He wasn't scanning the field. And it's like, it is an embarrassment. Like, no other quarterback done did that. We can't compare him to other guys like that. But when you invested in something like we are, like most of the people on your call logs are, I can tell you are too, I am emotionally invested in Alabama football. And I'd be mad, boy, I'd be want to throw chairs to the TV. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting up there, I'm like, man, what the F are you doing? And, he did walk to the sideline. And we sitting here I'm about to have a heart attack, man, because this darn boy that threw a darn ball into 3 defenders. What you think they going to do? They going to pick it off.
Hey, I just put up the drive chart. I'll read it out to you guys. So this is last night. This is Alabama's drive chart against Texas. I think you bring up a good point so we can kind of look at it. First drive, interception. Second drive was a field goal. Third, punt, field goal, punt, touchdown, interception, punt, and or touchdown, punt. That's how it ended. So when you look at that, what does that scream to you guys? Inconsistency. 100%. That's what it means to me, right? That like the facts are no matter who the quarterback was, and no one would ever say anything negative about Milroe as a person because that guy is like who you want your son to emulate. And you're right. Like we're just talking straight football here. And when you look to the physical stats of this, like that is not consistent, right? Interception, field goal, punt, field goal, punt. I mean, so yeah, I mean, that's why I was saying earlier, I think like right now it's gut check time for Saban to be like, okay, look, I said in fall camp that we needed consistency at the quarterback position. That was not consistent. And now it's time to see if one of these other guys can be consistent. D, what else you got, man?
No, man, all thing I want to say is I greatly appreciate what you do. You give us the information that we need to be fans and talk intelligently when we cussing other people out for talking about our team. And I appreciate you greatly for that. I say that every time I get on your chat. I've been in your chat a lot. And I just appreciate everything you do and your platform that you use. You use it very well. And I just like to thank you for that. And I got one other question. How did you end up from Mexico to way to Alabama?
I know, man. So the short story is this. So I started a business in New Mexico, covered high school football. A couple different opportunities came my way. Moved out to Los Angeles and lived out there for a year. Moved back to New Mexico, did the high school thing. Lived in DC for a while, and then went back to New Mexico. Opportunity opened up to live in Tuscaloosa. On the editorial side to like do like writing and stuff like that. But I was pretty good at YouTube, started up a YouTube channel. YouTube channel got bought out, was part of On3 for a little while, but I'm best made to do this creative content, to live here on the YouTube platform. So now I own the YouTube channel. This is what I do for a living. I live here in Tuscaloosa. I lived here for now almost 7 years. And I appreciate everyone's support. And as I do something that, really doesn't even feel like a job to me. So this is what I do. So yeah, that's how I got here, D.
Hey, well, we love you, man.
Yeah,
and like I said, I appreciate you. Because you give me, I can really talk intelligently when I'm cussing other folks out. Well, I heard this. I heard this. And this like you and Stephen M. Smith and Smoot and Lamb. You guys are where I get my information from when I'm talking about Alabama.
Yeah, there's a lot of
really appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling, D. Appreciate it, man. See ya.
And roll tide.
Roll tide to you, man. Yeah, there's a lot of great people in this space. 502, you're up next. 205-334. There's a lot of really talented people in this space. Mike, thanks for the 99 cents, man. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for the super chat. And then Dwayne up top, thank you for the super chat, 1999. You can't do as many things wrong against the worst team and expect to win. 10 penalties back to last year. Yeah, that is just, the penalties was another thing. It's like lack of pass rush, the quarterback play, offensive line woes, and then, when you have penalties, 10 for 90 is not going to cut it. You're not going to win games of that magnitude. Texas only had 4 penalties last night, which is really impressive considering they're playing on the road, and that environment was tough. I was there. It was loud. The fans did a really good job. Trey is saying, put me at quarterback. I don't know about that. But I think that another quarterback does need to play against South Florida. By the way, got a line update. I think that was from Brandon inside the comment box. Alabama favored by 31.5. So there's your rat poison going into Saturday's game against South Florida. We go back to the phone lines, and we got the 502, and we'll start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Mike from Kentucky. How you doing, brother?
Good, Mike. You know what? We had another 502 calling, earlier, and I was like, man, I thought we were all fired up, but it was from Louisville. So now we go back to Kentucky. Mike, you've had a little bit of time to digest this game. Give me your take.
Not good, bro. I got the score right. I'm just dyslexic. I don't know where to start, man. Watching the O-line play, I kept remembering something my grandfather used to tell me occasionally. Say, boy, B-I-G don't spell man. And that never rang truer. We got whooped. across the board, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm concerned. We don't have a running back that can run after contact. I mean, I thought we had a decent running back stable, man. No. We don't even have a Trent Richardson or a Eddie Lacy, and those two guys aren't even guys that really come to mind when you think of great Alabama running backs. But I would love to have either one of them two dudes back right now. It's just, I mean, the receivers did catch the ball, you know, when Milroe could find them. But, you know, I mean, it's pretty much just what everybody else has been saying. He can't throw the ball unless he has 3 seconds. He just can't process. His head, the clock in his head just doesn't run. It's not wound tight enough. You know, he's a little indecisive. And when you're playing big boy football, I told you Texas was a burnt orange monster, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were better than us. Really, going into that game, they were better than us at every position offensively. I mean, and it's hard to beat a team, you know, when you're at a disadvantage like that. I mean, I was shocked the secondary just got burnt down. They got burnt to a crisp. I mean, you know, Arnold had his, you know, he was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde all night. He'd make a great play, and then, you know, he'd get drugged down the sidelines by, you know, trying to prevent a touchdown, catch a penalty. I mean, Sark was dialing up old Lane Kiffin plays, run across the middle when the safety steps in, boom. You know, the guy running down the sidelines would occupy the space he just gave up. Man, it was bad. You know, Kool-Aid should have got burned for 2 touchdowns in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't break them balls up. They dropped them balls. He played the worst out of the whole secondary. He didn't look back I've never seen him look back for a football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's the most overrated player. I hate to knock him, man, because he's a young man, but he's the most overrated player we've had since Jay Barker. It wasn't good. The only guy that really had a solid night was the punter, in my opinion. I don't know how to fix all this in 1 week. I mean, you know, thank God we're not playing Tennessee next week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. Maybe that guy from New Mexico's right. I mean, you know, I kind of had a feeling this year that we was going to lose 3 home games, 1 down, 2 to go. I mean, look at Bobby Bowden. He left the cupboard completely full. It wasn't like he wasn't getting the players anymore. I think it's inevitable. You finally get to a point in your life where the generation gap is just too far. And these kids just can't receive what he's trying to transmit. I mean, you know, how do you tell Nick Saban you don't need him no more? That's like putting down old Yeller. You know? It's I don't know, man. It's inevitable. You know, and you were talking about Coach Prime. When Tennessee Cam Pruitt, I called in Feinbaum, and I told him Tennessee ought to get him, and he laughed at me.
Well, he was just saying a few minutes ago on ESPN that would be one of his maybe, you know, potential picks for Bama.
Well, sure. I mean, who don't want to play for him?
That's true.
You know, I mean, who's got a better football pedigree than Deion Sanders? I mean, come on. He played for the Seminoles when Bobby Bowden he had Florida State in the top 5 for 10 years straight. Played in the NFL, a Hall of Famer, Pro Bowl, how many times? Who knows? I mean, who knows more? I mean, that cat has got a football pedigree. Mm-hmm. You know, I'd love to see Deion, but, you know, I hate to see Nick go too. I mean, he's the GOAT, and he always will be. And, you know, you got to love him for life for what he's done. But, you know, I think the generational gap's just getting a little bit too far. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what happened to Bowden. You know, Jimbo Fisher had a national title with all the players Bowden recruited. Mm-hmm. It just, you know, there comes a point when you get 70-year-old men just don't relate to 18-year-olds. They don't. I mean, and that may be what we're seeing. I hope not, but, you know, nothing lasts forever, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
We're all mortal.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's
nothing lasts forever. But you know, I mean, that's about as sticky a situation. I'm glad I'm not involved.
Yeah.
in that decision. But you know, I don't know. I mean, next week ain't going to be no measuring stick. You know, Tennessee's the next measuring stick, I would say.
Yeah, no, I posted
I'll-
I posted the schedule, the upcoming schedule. I'll post that again just so people can get a reference of the upcoming schedule. So clearly, everybody knows that next week's game is against South Florida, where Alabama is a 31-point favorite, and then after that, you got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, and then open week, and then you have LSU. So, you know,
Did Ole Miss beat Tulane last night?
yeah, yep.
They did beat them. Tulane was giving them a little trouble early.
Yeah, I mean, I think people forget that
I just didn't.
Ole Miss, what did they win? What did they go 11-2 last year? So they're better than people think, but still, you know, it's like, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, Mike. Well, I think you bring up some good points, man. I mean, it's all relevant right now. I mean, it's week 2, and you know, there's some things to think about, but you know, it's not cutting it. This isn't the standard, and you know, Coach Saban has to make some you know, some changes, and you know, it's his job to do that, and his job to win football games. So the next game's up this coming week, and you know, of course, we'll have that press conference for you guys on Monday at 12 p.m. Anything else, Mike?
No, not really, man. I mean, there's no excuses, man. We got whooped.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
straight up.
I mean,
Yeah.
I heard Smoke talking on the post game show last night, and he was like, "If this, if that, if this, if that." Dude, we got whooped, just soundly.
Yeah.
They wanted it more. They played harder. You know, I'm even questioning the strength program at this point. Man, our guys are getting. I mean, we used to fourth quarters when we just smash people. Man, I ain't saying it.
20, yeah, like 21
So,
points by an opponent in the fourth quarter is real. I've never seen that before. Like I'm sure there's some weird stat to where that's probably never happened to Coach Saban. I don't know. So,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, brother. It sure ruined my night.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
Tide, I'm gonna keep my head up, man. You know, our back is to the wall for the rest of the season.
yeah.
You know, and you know, I mean, we've done it before. You know, we dropped a home game against Ole Miss and came back and won a national title. But we'll see. You know, we'll see. You know, it ain't over till it's over. But phew, our back is straight up against the wall at this point, man. Well, roll Tide. I'm gonna let somebody else talk.
All right,
Have a
man.
good night, brother.
Take it easy, Mike. All right, that was Mike calling in from Kentucky. We got a 205, a 334, a 601, and a 214 inside the call queue. There is a join button to become a fan funder for only $2.99 at the bottom of any video, but I think it's kind of difficult if you're on your phone, which I'm sure most people are. But if you go to a desktop, any video, you can see a join button. So we're going to look into that, and I'll get back to you guys. Gerald with the $4.99 super chat. Let's look at the positive. We can still had a chance to win the game until the last pick. If we can get better QB play, then I think we can win out, honestly. Yeah, I mean, still, you know, undefeated in the SEC play. I mean, it hasn't started. So, you know, you get it going and you find some sort of consistency. Still a very, very early season. It's just weird that Alabama has lost in week 2, right? When's the last time that happened? Dwayne with another super chat says, sorry, Kyle, got to help the wife. Of course, happy wife, happy life. Saying we'll start next season. Mark my words. I don't see the join button, but I'll look for it later. Julian saying the number 1 quarterback coming in next season. Everybody's super excited about him, and rightfully so. The kid's an absolute baller out of California. And the last quarterback who was from California was pretty good, right? Playing in the NFL. And did his thing today for the Panthers. What did he finish out, by the way? I didn't even watch that much NFL. How did Bryce do today? I know my Niners did work on the Steelers, so that was good. I know Brock Purdy turning out to be the truth. 205, let's get it. Hey, thanks for calling. You're on the calling line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Terry from Birmingham.
Terry, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Okay, thanks, Kyle. I got a little bit of laryngitis going on from
Okay.
last night. But,
Yeah, I'm sure.
but first of all, thank you so much, Kyle, for everything you do for the fans. And you mentioned this a few minutes ago, but what I want to talk about is penalties. Now, I want to preface this by saying Bama has had top 3 recruiting classes for several years, right?
Mm-hmm.
when these ones that are in the game keep committing these stupid ass penalties that are taken, especially when it takes points off the board, what is wrong with the coaching staff pulling these players out of the game when they commit one of these dumb penalties and put them on the bench just to make them think for a little while and put a 2 in there? There's good players with these recruiting classes Alabama's been having on the bench. Why not put a 2 in there just to get these ones' attention that these penalties have got to stop? I know you can't eradicate every penalty, but I mean, when you're taking points off the board, like the guy said, a call or two before, going back to last year, I mean, 10 penalties last night. How come they can't? Are they afraid they're going to hurt these players' feelings by pulling them out of the game just to make them think about, getting their head in the game?
I think I'm going to have to go through the snap counts and kind of see which freshmen have played thus far or kind of in the 2 deep. I was looking at the Pro Football Focus grades, and we're on with Terry from Birmingham. There was a couple guys that didn't see as much time as I thought they would. For example, one of them is Q Robinson, only played in 7 snaps when I thought he looked very productive chasing down Middle's quarterback in week 1. I think like the penalties, for example, and like to your point, right? Take a guy out who's making mistakes like Seth. Like what is going on with the missed snaps? I've never seen that from a center 2 weeks consecutively. And I think Saban was even kind of curious about that after the game as well. And I'm sure that's something that they're diving into. And that's kind of why I'm like, okay, maybe Darian Dalcourt should get some opportunities at the center position, maybe just to kind of like have a reset. But I think that really impacted, some of the offensive line play. Absolutely. And how many times did he do that? Was it 4? I'm sure there's like a rewatch. Like,
oh God, is it?
Like twice is like unacceptable. Once you're like, oh, whatever. But I think it was like 4 times or something like that. And then you add the time that he did it against Middle Tennessee.
It seemed like
right. Like we're talking like 6 snaps.
I know it wasn't
here.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it wasn't this many, but it seemed like a dozen watching it. But and Saban said it's not happening in practice, just in the games. So what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's concerning to think about the offensive line and especially about a group that we felt so confident about. Eric Wolford has some work to do with that offensive line. I'm sure Saban's going to kind of be digging into it. But yeah, I mean, subbing kind of players in and out. I mean, it's something that happens, but the penalties 10 for 90 last night when Texas only has 4, the mental lapses at critical times. So not only was Jalen Miro not playing good, you were having penalties at the worst time and, you weren't getting pressure on the quarterback. Those are all recipes for losing big time games. What else is on your mind, Terry?
Well, just that, 14 points taken off the board for penalties. Alabama lost the game by 10, so there you go. But the only other thing is they may have to modify the old saying down in T-Town about, if just modify it by saying, well, if you got 3 quarterbacks, evidently you don't have any.
Sure. Yeah, well,
so,
I guess we'll have to see.
Anyway, Kyle,
go ahead, Terry. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's it. Just thanks, Kyle, for taking my call and Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you.
This stuff fixed.
Terry, chicken noodle soup, tea with honey or lemon. I get it. You were doing your job last night. Coach Saban would be happy for you were out there screaming.
I do the honey and lemon every day. Yeah, I don't have a sore throat, just no voice. So.
Okay, man. Take care. We need you healthy. We need you healthy for the Ole Miss game, so you have some time to recover. Okay.
I'll be yelling.
Okay. All right. See you, Terry. Take it easy. All right. We got a 334-601 and 214 inside the call queue. We'll just go right to it. 334. Let's do it. Hey, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Ronnie from Opelika.
Hey, thanks for joining. Did you say Ronnie?
Yes.
Welcome to the show. What's on your mind, man? Take it away.
Well, on the first game, I was figuring Alabama was holding back plays. So I figured they were going to be calling some plays fitted to Jalen Milroe's skill set. Like when I previously called, I thought they may do some of the things that Auburn did with Cam because they have similar skill sets, athletic, strong arms. But I saw quarterback draw, and that was it. And I said, wow, they're just going to let him drop straight back. He's out of his element. If they're going to just do called drop back plays, I might as well put somebody else in. Because I listened to the nerds after I thought about that, and then they said the same thing.
Yeah.
They talked about the play calling was subpar, and they should have been calling plays that fit the quarterback that they had in the game. So
yeah,
they're just going to call straight drop back plays. You might as well go to a backup and see if they can fit into it.
Sure. I mean, I've kind of wondered almost about that, and we're on with Ronnie from Opelika here, Opelika. So, and I said this before a couple weeks ago. So I was watching the Johnny Football documentary, and this isn't to take away anything from like Jalen's IQ or anything that he can't understand, Tommy Reese's play call. But sometimes when you have the best athlete on the field who can clearly throw it. I mean, the throw to Jermaine Burton was a dime, right? Like almost like just let him go out and just play his game. And he might be trying to like micromanage him too much. And that might be causing him a little bit of pressure. I have no idea, but it's just like, it's unacceptable for him to throw an interception, especially that second one. The first one, I mean, that wasn't good. The second one was just like, my goodness, like you almost had to I was surprised he didn't get pulled right out of there. That second interception, that was like high school, like you just don't do that. So I don't know what's going on. And let me ask you, Ronnie, do you think that we'll see a new quarterback start against South Florida, or is it too early for that?
I don't know. You might as well if you're just going to call plays like they've been calling them because they do not fit Jalen Milroe's skill set. Put somebody else in then. You're just going to let them drop straight back instead of doing. You see the play calling of Steve Sarkisian? If we call some of that, I said, I want some of that. He would fake the run to one side, do a 360, throw it to the receiver on the other side behind the line of scrimmage. They did the reverse. They did a double pass. And
you know what? Last night too, as we saw, and they kind of went to some trickery too, right? I mean, how many reverses did they do? Sarkisian was trying to win, right? He went for it a couple times, and they missed an early field goal. But yeah, Sark had he was coming with it, and he's a great asset for Texas, and I liked him when he was here with the Alabama Crimson Tide, won a natty, and I'm not surprised to see what he's doing in Texas. And did you see after the game that Kellen Robinson, who used to be a running back here, did you guys see this on social media, that he ran to the Alabama recruits and was telling everybody to go to Texas? Did you guys see that? It's what happens, when you win a big game. Anything else, Ronnie, while I got you on the line?
Yeah, I did go back and look at Texas before we played them. And what I noticed was their defensive line. They look like big bullies. I said, I want some bullies on my team. Because they pushed them around, and they came and pushed us around just the same way.
Yeah.
Too bad we can't have Bo Davis back.
That's everybody's dream, right? It's like they want those bullies. You're right. I mean, it was crazy that they were getting so much pass rush with just 4 guys. I mean, they beat Alabama in the trenches. I hadn't seen that in a while. The last team I think I saw was in the 2017 Auburn defensive line under Kevin Steele. That team really pushed Alabama around. But last night or Saturday night, certainly they got bullied. Ronnie, I'm going to move to my next caller, man. Please call again anytime. I appreciate your input. And you're right. I mean, they got bullied. Texas has some bullies up front. All right. Roll Tide to you, Ronnie. We got a 601, a 214, and a 469. We'll just keep it rolling. 601, you're up. Let's do it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
How's it going, Kyle? It's Jake from Pensacola.
Hey, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in. I'm sure you're on the road, man, so be safe. Give me your assessment after 2 games of this Alabama Crimson Tide.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I got a few things to say. Well, first, with the Texas game, I feel like Texas was the better team. Texas won the game, but Alabama beat Alabama straight up because the 2 interceptions is 10 points plus the penalties. They scored, I think, honestly, field goals off of them and 1 touchdown off of penalties. And the last penalty, really, we could have came back at least scored one more time. But Alabama beat Alabama. It just straight out. I mean, Texas won. Alabama beat Alabama. Beat Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we had Ty Simpson, I like Tyler Butler or the KMU, but if we either one of the two, if we had somebody who can throw the ball, it would have been different. I feel like we had Bryce Young. If we had Bryce Young, that game it would not have been that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regardless of anything, like Jalen Miller, I feel like Jalen Miller, he would be a good running back. Jalen Miller, he would be a good running back. But as far as quarterback, I like everybody else was saying, his reads wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes were locked on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that last interception, I feel like he may do that on purpose if you the way it looked because it wasn't even receiver nearby. It was like he told him, "Come on ahead, come catch the ball." But Alabama beat Alabama with this, and I do feel like Nick Saban will need to start Tyler Butler or Ty Simpson.
Yeah,
I'm high on Ty Simpson. I've been high on Ty Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my opinion. I mean, the receivers did their job. I feel like this game, the receiver I give receivers the A+ because all of them did their thing.
Yeah.
Like if they had a quarterback, it could have thrown it to them, we would have won this game. Like this is the type of receivers that we needed last year, but we got them this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. The wide receivers have been nice. I mean, especially Kobe Prentice. Kobe Prentice he did well. He made some great catches in week 1, and then against Texas, he made some great catches as well. Jermaine Burton playing at a very high level. Coach Sean said that they needed high production from him. They got that. 2 of those touchdowns that he caught were negated because of penalties. Isaiah Bond made a good adjustment. He's doing his thing. I know Amari Niblack, he did drop a pass on that first drive of the game, but he's been performing at a very high level as well. 2 touchdowns to start off the season. I think he's very capable to have a really big season for Alabama. So, yeah, the wide receivers are doing their thing. I'm really happy to see kind of what they have in that aspect because I think we were curious to see if that group could perform at a high level. I've been a little bit, I wouldn't say disappointed with the running back because we really haven't got a large sample size. I did like what I saw from Jace last night. He was running hard. He just didn't have a lot of opportunities, and I get it. It's like, there was some situations where Alabama had to throw more than run because of penalties, but still, I felt that Jace was running really hard, and, he's been showcasing his abilities. Haven't seen too much of Roydell Williams just yet, and I still feel that Justice Haynes needs some reps because, clearly he has it. Anything else, Jay, while I got you on the line?
Yes, sir. I called I think last Monday or the KMU, but I think I called on the back end. You said, "I'm sorry, guys. I'll talk to y'all later." But the young receiver who played in the Middle Tennessee game, his name was Hill, number 14.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the announcers telling me he's pretty good. I haven't heard anything about him. Is he a pretty good young receiver?
Yeah.
Will be?
Yeah, so that is Jaron Hell, who they're talking about. And there's a couple wide receivers in that freshman group that are pretty talented. And I think Jaren Hell is he's out of Texas. He's a freshman, and you have Hamilton as well, who's a younger wide receiver. He's a freshman. So Jaren Hell and then Jared Hamilton. Hamilton is number, I believe he is number, what is he? I think like, I don't know. I'll get the numbers to you because these guys are younger, but yeah, very talented. I think Hamilton is probably one of the fastest players on the team, if not the fastest this year. He's a freshman. So, those guys are there, and you're right. I mean, it's exciting to look at this wide receiving unit because last year was a bit of a disappointment. So it's good to see the wide receivers, especially with the tight end playing at a very high level. Jay, I'm going to move to my next caller, man, but I always appreciate you calling in. Please call again and be safe on the road.
I appreciate it. I got one more thing. I know you from New Mexico. I came through New Mexico a few months ago. I got stuck in. It's called Albuquerque.
Yeah, Albuquerque.
I got stuck there for like 5 days because my truck broke down.
Yeah,
but man. Yeah, and it was in the middle of nowhere, so I had no way to get no food or nothing. I had to sleep at the truck that had an Arby's. I don't like Arby's, but that was
if you ever get stuck in your travels across the country, you got to go to in Albuquerque. You got to go to Golden Pride Burrito. Okay, Golden Pride. They have an incredible. Okay. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 of them. There might be more than that, but you got to get the number 10, the number 11 sausage and green chili. You won't regret it. And I mean, there's plenty of breakfast burrito spots in New Mexico, but Golden Pride certainly my favorite. Twisters. If you guys have seen Breaking Bad, that's kind of what they modeled. Everything off of was Twisters, but yeah, amazing. I'm hungry now thinking about it, but be safe, Jay. And next time you roll through, grab a Golden Pride. All right, man. Take it easy, buddy.
All right, have a good night. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, man. That's Jay calling in. He's always on the road. Appreciate it. Yo, we go all over. I love it. 214. Let's do it. Hey, thanks for calling. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson.
Hi, Kyle.
Yeah. Hi. Is this Elizabeth?
Hi, Kyle.
How's it going? Thanks for calling in the show.
No, this is actually Stephanie.
Stephanie, okay.
This is Stephanie from Dallas.
Stephanie from Dallas. All right, it was 214.
Yes.
My bad. All right, let's do it properly. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Stephanie, and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
All right, welcome to the show. Go ahead. Take it away.
So here are a couple of things that I noticed today when I rewatched the game. If I were to kind of grade it out at each quarter, first quarter, I would give it slightly to Alabama. You could say it was neutral. The offensive line looked great in the first quarter. Running looked good. Passing looked great. Would give the third quarter to Alabama, obviously, as well. That would give the second and fourth quarters to Texas. And as several folks have already said, it really was lost in the trenches. It really was the offensive line and defensive line, in my opinion, that lost the game for Alabama. And when you look at it, closely, I really think it's almost a conditioning problem because it just looked like they got really tired at the end of those two periods. And so you just started seeing so many more mistakes. You saw those 2 penalties, I believe, in the second quarter, that erased those 2 touchdowns. And so that's what I saw. The other thing that I saw that was more like at a nitpicky level is, I want to say it was in the first quarter, there were 2 turnovers by Texas. There was that first fumble.
Yep.
And that fumble went back, I want to say like 10, 12, 15 yards. And yet a Texas player was able to recover it. Now that fumble, was overturned. But if you watch that part, you can just see how badly Texas wants it. And the same thing happened on that second fumble that Texas had. And so to me, those were 2 things. I haven't heard anybody really talk about how badly one team wanted it over the other. But to me, those were some of the keys to the game that I saw when I rewatched it today. My other question is just, especially because when I think about Jalen Hurts at Alabama, and I think Milroe is more of a quarterback akin to style-wise to a Jalen Hurts, you just have to ask yourself, can Alabama, can Alabama support that kind of a quarterback, that style of a quarterback? I just don't, that's still a question in my mind at this point. And I trust, I'm not a player, I'm not a coach, but I'm a coach's daughter. And my father played right tackle and was an offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. And I just have to tell myself too that there's something that Coach Saban knows that the rest of us may not be privy to or may not have seen. Otherwise, he would have pulled Milroe out, like he mentioned in his press conference. But I trust him, and I know that most, if not all, Alabama fans trust him, and so we just have to trust there's something that he knows or that he's seeing that is causing him to play Milroe at this time.
Yeah, well,
so that's what I got.
Well, really good call. Well, I appreciate it. So first of all, I'm really glad that you brought up the almost turnovers in this game, because before the game, I said that if there was a turnover, that Alabama's defense, if they were able to create a turnover in the first quarter, which they almost did on that first drive, that could have been a catalyst for Alabama to really run away with the game, because the fans were lit last night. Like, the atmosphere was amazing. 10 out of 10. I mean, I think it was Kirk Herbstreit on Friday said that Alabama is really taking college football to the next level with kind of, the DJ, the lights, and everything that they've transformed college football into. And I really felt that turnover would do, it would just make the stadium blow up. Texas wanted this game. And if you listen to Steve Sarkisian's press conference, which they just posted today on the Longhorn Network, he talked about kind of that mindset going into Alabama, and they were prepared for it. And I think there's a lot of people who kind of have that mindset now when they come into Alabama, that they feel that they can punch with Alabama. And that wasn't the case over the last couple of years. But I think now they feel that they can challenge Alabama. And Texas came in here with a lot of not necessarily, clearly they had momentum, but from a mindset, they felt that they could play with Alabama, probably from last year, that the game was so tight. So, yeah, I think, those almost turnovers would have been huge in a game like that, because you look to how they affected Alabama, who did have turnovers. That was clearly a storyline of the game. Texas wanted that game, and Steve Sarkisian, he wants to prove that Texas is here. And I was noticing that on a lot of Texas sites that they're having Texas has arrived. Well, okay, we've expected you to be here, but can you continue that throughout the remainder of your season? Because there are some games, while they do have a favorable schedule, some of those Big 12 games can get squirrely towards the back end, right? We've talked about that with Iowa State and Texas, right? Like we're going to find them in some sort of crazy seesaw match. It's going to be 68-71 against Texas Tech. And you're going to be what? So that's going to happen at some point. I promise you that'll happen. That's how the Big 12 is. The offensive line play, I know your pops, like you said, played in the league. We're talking about the offensive line. That wasn't the standard last night. They were bullied by Texas, and credit to Texas. They have the guys that won the trenches, and that was part of their game plan. And then regarding your point, with Jalen Milroe, I honestly feel that it's just a quarterback competition still. And no one, was able to beat out Milroe for that opener against Middle. But Coach Saban, I think, he's going to give the keys at some point to another quarterback. He has to. He absolutely has to. He has to find out if another quarterback can have that consistency. Jalen didn't have it last night. Nothing against the kid, but X's and O's, you have to have a quarterback that can play at a higher level. The second interception was unacceptable. You can't do that at this level. Texas is a very good team. I don't know how far they're going to go, but you can't do that because there's other quality opponents on this roster and or on this schedule, rather, that are going to challenge Alabama, and they see Jalen Milroe as a vulnerable quarterback that they can beat. Anything else, Stephanie, while I got you on the line?
No, I agree on the interceptions. The first interception looked more like he was threading it. And when you look at the receptions that he had in the first quarter, in the third quarter, he was threading those through the defenders well. And you could hear the announcers too talk about how the Alabama receivers were going up and making catches, et cetera. The second one, I agree. Who knows what happened with that? Was it a bad pass? Did he think that the receiver was running a different route? I can't read mine, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're right about Texas in terms of the Big 12. It's when you play kids against kids that you have played against, in junior high and high school. It's similar to Alabama Auburn. It's every week. And so it's always tricky. So we'll see how they do. And if anybody can come back from this, right, it's Alabama.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thanks for the call, Stephanie. Please call again next time. Really good context. I like what you brought to the table. So save the number, call in anytime, and we'll catch up with you next time.
Thanks so much, Kyle. Have a great day.
You too. All right, that was Stephanie calling in from Dallas. We got a 469-210 and a 334. Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. Thanks for the super chats. We got DK on here, Texas fan here, just supporting the cause. I really enjoyed your discussion with Anwar before the game. Good luck to you the rest of the way. Absolutely. You too. You got the Texas team has sky's the limit for those guys. The offense is electric. Can't wait to see what they can do in kind of the rest of their story. And I think everybody has a lot of respect for Coach Sarkisian. He's doing just a great job with Texas. And then Javion in said, "Hey Kyle, you have to come through Pensacola and go to Tampa. If you got time, stop. We can chop up some football." Yeah, I'm flying into Tampa, so if you're in the Tampa area, hit me up. I'll go smoke a cigar with you. We'll talk some football if I can. Schedule is tight, so but I do like to ride with the fans or whatever. So drop me some spots to eat at when I am in Tampa. We go back to the phones. It's a 469, and we start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson.
Kyle.
Let's do it proper. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
It's Cameron from San Antonio.
What's up, man? Appreciate you calling in from San Antonio, man. You've had some time to digest this. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I did. I think I want to say first, I think Alabama's defense played really, really well to hold Sark and his absolutely amazing play calling to only 13 points until the fourth quarter. I think we have to give our defense a little bit more credit. I think Caleb Downs actually played really, really well for being a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
He did get attacked a couple of times, but that's okay. I feel like that's something that we could overcome. He can learn from. But I think I want to touch on the big topic, which is Jalen Milroe. I do believe that, honestly, and I don't know if it's harsh or not, but I believe he's a project quarterback in that this is going to take time. And Alabama hasn't exactly developed quarterbacks, i.e. Jalen Hurts, so like how Lincoln Riley could or anything like that. I don't think that even if you were to develop him, it's going to take time. And I don't even know if we can actually develop him to be a great passer or even a game manager. And I say that because, honestly, there was a couple throws that I think sets apart him from the other quarterbacks or even being a great quarterback. I think we had a wheel route to Jason McClellan. He was wide open and he missed him. Yep. I think there was even a wheel route to Roydell, and I think even the commentators mentioned it. If Jalen Milroe just let him a little bit or allowed him to stay on his feet and not throw it to his back shoulder and fall down, that's a touchdown. I think those simple throws are what should be made, at least from a game manager or even like above average quarterback type that I think that we need. And so I think also too, if we do acknowledge that it may take time, how long do fans or supporters think that we should give Jalen Milroe? Should it be the next 3 or 4 games, or until we lose another game, or until he starts throwing like one or two more interceptions? Like, what is the time limit we should give him before we should at least put somebody out there and give them real quality time?
That's kind of what we've been debating, all today is like, and that's, yeah. I'm sure Coach Saban has thought about that, is he has some sort of secret timeline in his vault of when he's going to put in another quarterback. I would assume that it's going to be against South Florida, but you know what? Never try to guess what Saban's going to do. He'll beat you on the chessboard all the time. So sometimes when you think you're like, this totally makes sense, he'll do something that you don't expect. And this is a critical time for his team because you're in week 2. Momentum's probably down a little bit. Look, you haven't played an SEC game, but you need some sort of rhythm going against Ole Miss. Look, Lane Kiffin, if you like Sarkisian, yes, he's very dangerous and he has the horses to do it. Ole Miss can be squirrely because Lane Kiffin is there. Lane Kiffin is an incredible offensive-minded coach. And plus you got Pete Golding who stole all the defensive, plays or whatever he's coming over with. He knows the system. He's been here for 5 years or 4 years or whatever. So he knows Saban. He's under Saban. Both those guys are. So now you have 2 disciples taking on Saban here in a couple weeks. That game's going to be challenging. The thing about Lane Kiffin when he has played Coach Saban is he's played more emotional because I think he has such great respect for him, looks at him kind of like as another father figure. So he's went for it in like some critical situations when he probably could have just taken points. He's coming to win. So you need a quarterback that can combat that. You don't want to get that in another street fight. We've seen what Jalen Milroe can do. Okay, let's see what some other quarterbacks can do. I'm super curious to see if there's another quarterback to start. But, I mean, sometimes when you try to guess what Saban's going to do, it just doesn't work out. What else, Cameron? Do you think that, that he starts another quarterback? Or, what else you got regarding Alabama's first 2 games of the season?
Honestly, I don't think he starts another quarterback because – I think if you do bench him right now, I think that you will lose him going forward. So I think that he gives Jalen Milroe 1 or 2 more quarters, but I do believe he puts him on a shorter leash. So as soon as he throws the next 2 interceptions, it might be time for the switch. He already said he was thinking about it. So I mean, it's already he's just like us. It's already thought that he's thinking about it. I'm really interested in why people have, or even the team has Tyler Buchner over Ty Simpson. I don't understand that. Maybe because it's more experience, but I believe that experience is like a catch-22 because you'll always say somebody else has more experience and play them than the person that has no experience. So somebody will always play over Ty Simpson just because they have more experience, but Ty Simpson will never get any experience doing that. So I think that's really interesting. I don't know who's the better quarterback out of those 2, but I do believe either one should get some reps, or a lot of reps, or even a half against South Florida, just in case they were gonna have to switch it against Ole Miss.
Yeah, I know, and the reason I'm going with Tyler Buchner after Milroe, if that is going to happen or whenever, if it does down the road, is because of what happened against Middle Tennessee. They went right to Buchner and then they went to Ty Simpson. So that's kind of how I'm looking at the depth chart. But the depth chart, literally, it keeps being presented on our desk at the stadium. It says Jalen Milroe or Tyler Buchner or Ty Simpson or Dylan Lonergan. Literally, that's what it says. That's going to say that for the rest of the season. So I think they have they haven't determined their official starter, which is weird because, Milroe plays that whole game. But Cameron, I'm going to run to my next caller. I appreciate you calling in so much. Good context. Call again anytime, and appreciate you calling in tonight.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks. All right. Take it easy, man. All right, 201-334. We'll get to you here in just a second. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Really appreciate you guys joining me tonight and today. We got Coach Saban's press conference on Monday at 12 p.m. We'll bring that to you as Alabama gears up for South Florida, September 16th in Tampa, 2:30 kick. TV, ABC, or ESPN3 line. I'll update the graphic on top. Alabama as a 31-point favorite going into this game. We go back to the phone lines with a 201. We start right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Adam from Georgia again. How are you?
What's up, Adam? Thanks for coming to the show, man. What you got for me after 2 games of play?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about it today, and one of the things I think that people aren't talking about is Alabama's recruiting. I mean, what type of players are we recruiting? It doesn't seem like we're recruiting the type of players that have been successful in the past. I mean, you got Terry and Arnold grabbing a guy's jersey. You got Milroe looking confused, the O-line looking gassed, missing tackles. I mean, they don't seem to have the heart or the mindset or the mental toughness of like the 2015, 2016, 2020 team. And I wonder what's going on in the recruiting process. I mean, the teams that we're losing to don't have better talent, but they have more heart and they have more hunger. And, the last thing is, I'm not sure why we brought in Tommy Rees. I mean, Rees was an average quarterback at Notre Dame, and he brings a style of football that I don't think is a good fit with us. We don't even have a good offensive line, and our running backs aren't great. So do you think that recruiting is part of the problem, and do you think Rees is a good fit for Georgia? So thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thanks, Adam. I'll catch up with you on the other line. I think with recruiting, I haven't, been too disappointed in the recruiting. What were they, like number one, over the last, couple years, and they're putting together a good class right now. It might have to do with some of the mindset and kind of the culture of where college football is now, and kind of this whole transfer portal that I strongly feel has changed the game over the last 2 years. It changed it so quickly, right? I don't know if you can ever get to that elite Bama standard anymore, because you could just bounce out. So you have like Killen Robinson, for example, like playing with the Texas Longhorns. You're in this kind of world of NFL where players can just kind of flip flop and change. So I think that has affected it more than the recruiting. So yeah, I don't know. It's something to ponder for sure. And I think when you look at kind of the direction of Alabama, you're at a critical point right now. I mean, Coach Saban has to make some major changes, and I'm sure he's going to do that. I said that Coach Saban will fix it. I believe he will. It's early on in the season, but, you have quarterbacks that I would think are, capable to fit the system. And regarding Tommy Rees, I mean, let's face it, was he Alabama's first choice? Didn't they go after that guy from Washington? Remember, they flew him into Tuscaloosa, and I think he turned Saban down. And then you go after Rees, who is how old? 31 years old? I think it's too small of a sample size to really judge Tommy Rees right now, because I did like some of the things that he did with Notre Dame's offense, and I think he has better weapons here at Alabama. So I'm going to reserve my opinion on Tommy Rees until we get to 5 or 6 games, or maybe even more than that, to really gauge what he can do. But so far, I think it's kind of been the players more than the coaches, right? Jimmy Joes or X's and O's, that whole thing. But, who knows? We go back to the phone lines, and we'll go through a 334, and we'll start right now. Hey, thanks for being on the line. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson, who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
David from Opelika.
Hey, thanks for calling in. What do you What's kind of your assessment? What are you thinking about as Alabama is now 1-1 entering week 3?
Oh man, they'll be all right. Everybody getting on that Miro kid like he the worst quarterback ever. But I've been a fan a long time. You can go back to 1992 when Jay Barker in the championship game went 4 for 18, 2 turnovers and 18 yards the whole game. Miro, he's a tense player. He got to loosen up. Saban went and recruited that guy because he didn't want to play against him. We had Bryce and Tua, and everybody forget how many interceptions they throwed in games. And when they had the team for their whole self, neither one won a championship. We forget about that. Neither both of them there for 2 years, and Bryce nor Tua won a championship. We went from the ground and pound to air raid.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Saban championship, all them won with the ground and pound and the game manager. Jalen can do it, but folk got to be confident. That ball running for his life last night.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you're going to count 1, 2, 3 on me.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to be critical of a quarterback that have a more darker pigment than somebody else lighter. We give him a real short leash. But get a little young man a time. Everybody want to pull the leash on him. He goes somewhere else, he'll kill Bama. And I really don't think the other guy got it what it takes. If they did, they should have beat him out. We want Ty Simpson. If Ty Simpson get in there and mess up, that's on him. We were so high on Blake Barnett. Blake Barnett got in the game, got concussed. That's how Jalen Hurts got in. We just got to get these kids time, especially on offense. They'll be all right, but the defense, oh, man, I ain't seen that bad of a whooping in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Our DBs just don't search for the ball. They don't fight. We got the pretty ball mentality. I look good. The team not as one. They don't dress alike. Everybody come out there, different mouthpieces. You ever watch the Bandstand? They talk about that a lot. You know, somebody ought to go around and just snatch everybody out. We all gonna look the same. We all gonna dress the same. Like the movie Drumline, one band, one sound. You know, they'll be all right. Saban the right coach for it. You know, when he used to snap on the sideline, throw his headsets, everybody got a hold to him. He need to calm down. He need to relax. Some of the throws Jalen throw, they were bad. But what great quarterback hasn't thrown them little short passes that bounced everywhere, even Tom Brady. And he'll go down with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But he had bad throws, missed wide open receiver. But I appreciate you taking my call. Just, they'll be all right.
Thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. I'll catch up with you on the other side. Roll Tide to you. I think that, you know, plain and simple, I mean, Jalen Milroe didn't, you know, get the job done. And it's going to be up to Coach Saban to, you know, go throughout this week and figure out a game plan, not only for South Florida, but for the rest of the season. It's critical that you have somebody that can be consistent. That's been the whole theme of it. That's why I keep talking about it. This team certainly is not done. Saban referred to it as a midterm. And, you know, I think they're going to be just fine going forward. And I think that they'll come back. And, you know, it's early. So I think, you know, sometimes when a team loses early, you can write them off, but not necessarily in college football. And I think that, you know, I still, you know, this team has a lot of talent. I do believe in the defense. And I think that, you know, the offense will find themselves at some point. And I think one of the other things is important to realize is, like, they had Bryce Young, the #1 pick in the NFL draft, right? Like, first time Alabama's ever had the #1 pick. That's how talented Bryce was. You have Tua starting on Sunday, Mac Jones. You have Jalen Hurts, right? Led the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Like, there was going to be a drop-off at the quarterback position. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to find their quarterback. And they will. This team will find themselves. They might not have an identity, and I get it. They're the different mouthpieces, and, you know, we're in a different world. But that was a good Texas team. We can't take anything away from Texas. They came in, and they did a good job, and they beat Alabama straight up. The way that Texas' schedule is set up, it's favorable. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a run and win the Big 12. I mean, they were favored to win the Big 12. Alabama was not favored to win the SEC. That doesn't mean that the two teams can't eventually re-meet again. I would love to see that rematch because I think Alabama did have chances to beat Texas last night. And they were penalty plagued. This team is not built yet. It's only week 2. It isn't week 10 or week 11 or 12. So give them time. And, you know, I think that Saban will be able to get kind of the wheels back on the track, so to speak. So I appreciate you guys joining me. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. If I didn't get to your call tonight, I will get your call next time. I appreciate all the super chats tonight, and you know, really helps out for you guys to support the channel. You can hit the join button underneath the video. A thumbs up goes a long way, and you know, I really appreciate your support. Tons of coverage coming this week right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Good night.